Alicia Cooper, again, she asked, do you recommend documenting the journey when you're now starting out in the absence of social proof?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. A lot of people think that the journey and the documentation and the creation of content starts when you're on top of the world. No, it starts in your basement. It starts with you if you're making a hair product and you start in your kitchen. You see, that type of content, that is the gold. Because when your business now becomes great and you now have I get goosebumps. Oh, Jesus. And you now have videos that show where you are coming from, or maybe you did have a bicycle where you show that this is how you get to work, like a girl in Jamaica who showed you she have on her uniform and her heels and is a bicycle she ride every day to go to work. Those matter because you're showing the community that this is what you have to do, or you love what you do so much that you're willing to sacrifice. And don't worry, it may seem stupid. It may seem small, it may seem insignificant, but I promise you, it's those videos and it's those stories that do the best on social media. Those are the ones that go viral. So even when the testimonials aren't there as yet, people will admire your attitude. They will admire your sacrifice. They will admire your dedication and your commitment to what it is you're doing. And they will even now pitch in and support. You will now see people asking you, how can I help you? You know, I can give you the bottles. You know, I can make you labels. But if you don't put yourself out there a little bit, you actually will never understand the support that is out there for you. So yes, start documenting as small as you think you are, because that is really the documentation that people love to see.
Yes. So Wendy Wallace asked, Terry, how does one who nobody knows build their brand and garner interest? So you, for example, you won Miss Jamaica. You host a popular Jamaican show. I think she's referring to the Rising Stars. Did you say Rising Stars?
Right.
And so you had the platform. So
I didn't. Because at the time when I did Miss Jamaica World and I did it for the year, reigned for the year, went back to Cuba, finished my final year. When I was doing public relations, I wasn't on social media. I had disappeared. I had fallen off the face of Jamaica, actually. I was in my little space, in my little lane. I never really know about, so I think only Facebook was there, and I was only I had my private page, and I only had a couple of friends there. I wasn't using social media. I disappeared. And when I went to Spartan Health Club as the general manager, I still wasn't using social media. You want me to tell you when I really started to use social media? In 2012 or 2011. And I started using it just before I landed Digicel Rising Stars. I started to show up in my space. I'm telling you, when I started using Instagram, I had 5 likes. It never mattered who I was. Well, apparently, it did not matter who I was. No, did my page pick up when I started Digicel Rising Stars? Yeah, it did. But you know what is funny? I show up on Digicel Rising Stars for 3 months in the entire year, and then I disappear. My numbers do not grow during Digicel Rising Stars. My numbers grow astronomically outside of the period of Digicel Rising Stars, which means it's my content that I do outside that is really pulling people in. On LinkedIn, when I jumped on LinkedIn in May, a year ago, I am now at 31,000 31,000 followers. Most of those persons had never heard of me before. Terri-Karelle was a nobody. They didn't know me as a Miss Jamaica World. They didn't know me as a media, a host. And because they didn't, I doubled down. When I joined LinkedIn, I said, I'm going to post in the morning and I'm going to post in the evening. And I did that every day for 6 months. And that is when Paris come around, Grenada come around, Singapore come around. So what I'm saying is a lot of persons on social media now have big numbers who were nobodies. Yeah, I might have had the Digicel Rising Stars to give me a boost, but it is up to me to capitalize with my platform. Outside of Digicel Rising Stars, I need to show people who I am, what I do, what I value. That is why people come to my platform. They don't come to my page because I host Digital Rising Stars. Most of them don't watch Digital Rising Stars. They're watching their Netflix and they're watching their cable. Most people who watch Digital Rising Stars are your rural people who still watching free to air. So I guess what I'm saying is you shouldn't, not that you can't. Don't use the fact that nobody don't know you know as an excuse or to say you can't build a brand as big. There are people who have more followers than me, millions of followers locally right here who nobody knew, who never have no platform, who don't host nothing. They have 1 million followers, 500,000 followers. So I think it has to be, doesn't matter who you are, if you have value to offer to the platform, you have a community that you want to serve, and you are helping to solve a problem, and you show up for these people every single day, they're going to come. Will you get 10,000 people in a month? Maybe not. Maybe not. I didn't get 10,000 people. So I literally, and I have not deleted one post. I think if I go back to my original post, you would see what my community was like. Small, infinitesimally small. And it's just that people liked me. They genuinely liked what I represented. And so people started to share me with other people. And I think that's what we need to concentrate on. We need to concentrate on what our uniqueness is and what we bring to the table. And we need to be consistent with our message throughout. I think that is the most important thing, regardless of who you are. I've seen people who are hosts on TV now who are still not pulling numbers and still not building a community because they haven't figured out how to, even though they're on TV. So even though people are popular, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have meaningful communities. It really comes down to what you're putting into your community, really.
So I hope I pronounce this name correct. It's Gladys, Gwladys. I'm gonna assume Gladys. Gwladys. Gladys.
What? Gladys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Gladys. So Miss Fila asks, Terry, how do you go about building your presence in a field that is almost non-existent in the public space?
By making it public. Hey!
Huh?
By making it public. Nothing is nicer, I think. I find people who are doing unique things extremely fascinating. You know, people look at particular industries and they think that only because the industry is cool, they're the ones that deserve to be on social media. It is what you choose to do with what you do. So the public space isn't there. That means that you won't be competing with anybody because everybody else is busy playing small. So guess that what that means? That means that that is the perfect opportunity for you to shove out. It means that when people are searching for that particular industry or when people are looking for a particular person, guess who is going to be the only person online? You. I think that is brilliant. And I think that that is your opportunity right now. And I promise you, when you bust out, watch how other people in the space who do what you do are gonna take your lead. But my thing is, if it isn't in the public yet, put it out in the public. Strategize, position yourself, and position yourself as the expert and the authority in that space, and you're the only one floating around.
Boom. So Melinda Bell, and hi to Melinda Bell. Shout out to Barbados. So Melinda, Melinda asks, how do I find my brand voice?
Ooh, baby girl, that sounds like you need an online branding session, boo. That sounds like we need to hook up. Your branding, your brand voice is unique to you, okay? And it does not matter if you love the same things as other people or you do the same things as other people. That's not what matters. Your brand voice is your tone, your message, your happiness, your fulfillment. Do you get a sense of purpose when you write your caption, or is your caption empty? Are you writing this caption because you're expected to write this caption, or because it's on Monday, you're just going to get up and write the caption? Or are you driven by what it is you're doing. Because I find when you are truly passionate about what it is you're doing, it comes out in everything. It comes out in your body language. It comes out in how you speak. It comes out in how you deliver and how you engage and how you communicate. These are all things that make up your brand voice. More importantly, you want to ask yourself, what do you want to be known for? How do you want people to view you? How do you view yourself? Yeah? How do you want your brand to be viewed? All of those things have to come together to form what is called brand harmony. And it is how you communicate all these things that become your brand voice. So it goes back to the core question. Yeah? What do you love to do? What makes you feel fulfilled? Where do you think your purpose lies? Who you want to help? And that helps you know, and your core values. And now all of that helps you to formalize your brand voice. So for me, over years, people look on me and say, Terry's an advocate. She's an activist. She stands up for people who don't have the strength to stand up for themselves. Terry is of integrity. Nobody's going to be able to pay Terry money to have access to her community. Terry only endorses and speaks about things that she knows as fact, that is tried, tested, and proven. Over the period of time, by sticking to a certain quality in my communication, that has become a part of my brand voice that has been amplified across my different platforms. And so you always have to be careful of what you see in yourself, how you view yourself, and how you want other people to view you. And that is really your brand voice. I don't know if that is everything, but I'm trying to kind of capture everything in a nutshell for you.
Yeah, man, that's solid right there. And Melinda is actually a personal finance coach. She was actually interviewed on Caribbean Power Lunch, episode 48. So
Nice.
Anybody wants to hear more from Melinda, go to caribbeanpowerlunch.com/048. Okay.
Was she the one who asked about in the public space?
No, she's the one who just asked about the brand voice.
About the brand voice. Oh, absolutely. And we can speak afterwards as well. We can organize something afterwards to help you look at what that would look like. Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, so Gabby asks, what subjects, I love this question, what subjects or majors do you think someone should take if they would like to be a public speaker like yourself?
Life.
Spanish in Cuba.
Life. I think life actually makes you a great public speaker. Do you know how many people who I know have who've done online speaking classes? They've gone for speech therapy. They've done every Jesus thing by the book. And they still have a very hard time speaking. And I don't think it's a subject necessarily that can be taught. I think the areas of importance are personal development, yeah? Because I think when someone develops themselves personally, they kind of understand themselves. There's an awareness. It makes it easier for them to actually be public speakers. I think people need to read. And again, these are not necessarily subjects, and this is just my opinion. If you ask somebody else, maybe they'll give you something else. I think that you have to read. A lot of the public speakers, if not most of the public speakers, and those of us who do very well and are paid a lot of money, it's because we read a lot. Last year, I read 45 books. And each time I read a book and I go on a stage, I'm able to pull information from a book I just read. It increases your vocabulary. It increases your reach. It increases your knowledge across industries. We cannot be stuck with the knowledge that we think we have based on the exposure and the experience we have and think that we're going to be able to impact and influence large audiences, which means we need to now soak up information from reading. And number 3, I don't think it's a subject. But it is the art of storytelling. People always ask me to do a class or to do an IG live on storytelling. Public speaking, I keep on telling people, is storytelling. It is communicating, and it is connecting. When we talk about public speaking, people think of large crowds and big stage and microphone, and it's this big, overrated thing. When really and truly all people want you to do is to talk to them, to meet them where they are. Give them stories and anecdotes and give them practical solutions to fix something in their lives. It's the same way you would talk to your friends. But somehow when we talk about public speaking, we got crazy with it.
I love it.
I
I
think
love that energy. I love that energy.
crazy. Personal development for sure, because I think you need to increase and learn how to build your confidence.
Yeah.
Personal development is important, and that is something that is ongoing, because I think if you can get your confidence in level, half the battle is won. And then, of course, after that, it becomes reading and it becomes opening yourself to new experiences, new people. And then, of course, it becomes really learning how to take a topic and instead of making it boring and institutional and like a robot, starting off by saying, you know, my mother never invested in stocks and shares. Neither did my grandmother, because, you know, financial literacy was just never something that they thought about. For them, financial literacy meant putting money in a savings account, and it meant just going to a good school and graduating. And yet now that I am an older person, now that I understand the power of having shares, instead of giving my daughter another Barbie doll for her 7th birthday, what I did was I gave her her portfolio. She has her own investment, her own stocks and her own shares. And the reason why I do that is because I want her to learn financial literacy. I want that when she gets older, I am not a burden on her. I want her to be... I am speaking about financial literacy, but I'm not coming to you from a level of financial literacy as defined by the Oxford Dictionary is. No, I am coming from a place that most of us as Caribbean people know. Most of us save our money, but we do not invest. And we keep on living check to check, and we spend all of our money on our education. We do not spend any money on our retirement. And then when our children get a little bit older, they're so busy trying to take care of us because we didn't make good financial decisions that they don't get to really spread their wings. Black rotted tax. I am that kind of speaker. I am speaking to you at the level where you can understand because you've experienced it, because your parents experienced it, and your parents' parents experienced it. And I am now going to show you how I am making a practical change in my life that will benefit my daughter and myself. It is the art of storytelling. And so that is what I will train people to do. Don't go into a class or a subject thinking one thing is going to teach you. It's a lot of things that are going to come together to make you a great public speaker.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll just add my little 2 cents to that, because I've always been a shy person growing up and everything. And public speaking is something that used to give me like crazy, crazy anxiety. Like even now, like even just coming to do a podcast or when I go to host a wedding or something like that, I feel it in my stomach. I have to do my breathing exercise. I have to stretch. I have to jump up and down. It's a whole shebang, right? But what gets me able to deliver, and which I think I deliver okay. I deliver well. What gets
I
me
think you deliver well, being modest.
You have to be modest, right? What I think helps me to get to deliver well is that I always tell myself, Kevin, this is not about you, it's not about how you look or how if you sound smart, if you look good, or whatever it is. It's about the audience. It's about the people you're here to serve. It's about making sure that they have a good time, they learn something, and they have something to take away. So even right now, I'm sitting here with you. We're on Zoom. We had the room. We had a packed room.
Right.
For the full 2 hours and 2 hours plus. Is never about me sounding good as a host. It was about, okay, how do I get the best out of Terri? How do I get to go deeper than she might have gone before? So that the audience could feel it, and and we see the audience feel feedback and everything. So yeah, I always say make it bigger than yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Public speaker or anything that you're doing.
For sure. I've seen persons in my Instagram tell me, Terri, I've written the book. Terri, I've applied for the college. Terri, I was going to drop out of school, but because, I watch your videos and you just seem to push through regardless. Like you push through and you still show up for us. I figure the most I can do is show up for myself. I have so many stories of persons who are a part of my community who within maybe months of which is why I'm saying you can't just tell people, you have to show people. You can't just preach it, you have to practice it. And when people see you doing it, there's this extra burst of energy where they think that they can. And I think that feels much better when you know that you're serving your community. So for me, whenever you get a topic, if you're invited to be a public speaker, don't just look at the topic as a static topic. Ask, how does this topic apply to me? How does this affect me? How has it affected my family, persons around me? Because I will tell you, I do not accept all speaking gigs. If it's a topic that does not align with my brand, I'm not accepting the job. I don't care if they're paying me. I will not accept a topic that I do not have enough knowledge on. I'm not doing it. So, because some people accept all things because they want to be on a stage and they want the social proof and they want to be able to post. That can damage your brand if a lot of people go, yeah, she was the public speaker, but Jesus, she was terrible. She was totally off. So I say, be very intentional and strategic about what topics you decide to speak on, and make sure that those topics, you not only bring knowledge, you bring solution, you bring stories, and you bring real life jokes, because there's always jokes in these journeys, not trying to think about it too hard.
Right. And I love this name, Fiesta Gooden.
Ooh.
Yeah, man, I like that name. Yeah, that's a good name for my daughter, man. Fiesta, I love that. Fiesta Valley. All right. So, hey, Terri, what kept you going for 6 months when you just started on LinkedIn? And do you ever feel like what you're doing isn't working? And how do you get over that?
Girl, when I first started LinkedIn, remember I tell you, nobody never know Terri-Karelle. I step on LinkedIn. LinkedIn looks different. Them have features. I don't even know what's going on. My bio outdated. My profile outdated. I don't have no profile photo. I say, mighty God. That means that I'm starting from scratch. It means that I do not have a spirit of entitlement. It means that when I step into an unknown territory, I do not feel like because I am Terri-Karelle and I'm well known on Instagram or I'm well known in Jamaica, it means say, yeah, I'm me. Me just I got done. Like, no, I literally went on LinkedIn and the first thing I did was I researched the platform for a solid week before I did anything. Because my favorite word in this entire world, 2 words, intentional and boundaries. Those are my 2 favorite words in life. And I studied LinkedIn for the week, looked around, saw what people posted, how they posted, when they posted, why they posted, the words they used, the language they used. Then I said, okay, I'm going to take from this what will help strengthen me, and the rest that I don't think has anything to do with me, I'm not going to do. And when I first started to post, I got very little engagement because, again, nobody knows you yet. And I'm not even going to lie to you, by my first month, I started to get engagement because people started to share my content. And, even now with 31,000 followers, if I post and my post doesn't do well or doesn't get great engagement, again, I do not take it personally. Not because people didn't engage with it means that it wasn't valuable. It doesn't mean that the content doesn't help someone. It doesn't mean that the photo isn't necessarily good. It could have been the time that I posted. It could have meant that people were not on LinkedIn at the time when I posted. And so I think when it comes to algorithms and when it comes to platforms, don't get discouraged if you don't see the numbers. It means maybe you have to experiment. So it is by experimenting I found out what was the optimal time for me. I found out that, okay, when I posted between 7:30 and 8 o'clock in the morning, most professionals were already on the platform. Okay, in the evening around 5:30, 6 o'clock, that's when most people, so I didn't take it personal. For me, it's like, all right, you knew, experiment. You have nothing to lose. 1 month ago, you weren't even on the platform. You weren't on the platform. You didn't have any online presence. So if you get 1 like and 1 comment, it's better than what you had before, right? And the beautiful thing about LinkedIn is that when people like or comment on your platform, the people who follow them see what their activity is like, and that's how people come over. But if you're not posting content and if you're not experimenting, then you won't really know how to post or when to post. So what I will say is start easy, start slow, put up a schedule, make up your mind. You're going to post once a day. Are you going to post once a week? If you say you're going to post once a week, then say, all right, twice a week. All right. And then you keep on increasing as you go along. For me, I went hard and fast. Once in the morning, once in the evening, every single day for 6 months. I did not feel entitled. I felt I had to work as hard as everybody else. And now, even in COVID, when I backed off of posting on LinkedIn, because I'm working on my website, my personal brand got so strong and big and consistent on LinkedIn that even when I am not posting right now, I'm still seeing the residual effect. People are still commenting and engaging with content I've posted before. So just keep at it. Keep at it. Don't stop. The numbers will come and the conversion will come.
Galaxy S8 Plus user asks, how does one recover or cope with verbal abuse in the workplace or someone who tries to belittle you, especially when it affects your mental health? You know, this reminds me of the days when when I was working in the bank, and I used to come late sometimes and say, hey, Valley, what the this and that, you know? But I don't know. I mean, I want to hear your take on this story.
No problem. First of all, Galeon, thank you so very much. She said she found this meeting on my LinkedIn today. Thank you so very much. To Galaxy S8, that's a very good question. We actually we experience verbal abuse from people closest to us, from our partners, husbands, wives, our common laws, children, best friends. You'd be surprised to know how many people experience verbal abuse on a daily basis, and every single day it chips away at their confidence and it chips away at who they think they are. The first thing I'd want to ask to probably get a little bit more insight is what kind of verbal abuse in the workplace? Is it coming from coworkers, or is it coming from like management roles, supervisor or executive managers? And the reason why I ask that is because I'd want to establish if this is a power trip from higher to lower, or is this horizontal? Your co-workers is it that they're jealous? Maybe you're employee of the month and they just hate the fact that everybody likes you. Your performance tasks are always done on time. Maybe you show up everybody else. I don't know enough. You know what I mean? Like,
Galaxy, yes, it says the boss.
The boss. Okay. Okay. All right. And so what I would now have to ask myself is this boss and is this business worth staying in? Because if a boss is verbally abusing me, it means that the boss has absolutely no respect for me. It probably means that that boss is very egocentric, and regardless of what I do and how I do it, even if I do it efficiently, that person, once they're starting off a relationship with no respect, they're never going to give it to me. So now I have to evaluate if this is worth it, because it sounds like it's not worth it. And if it's your boss, you're always going to have to deal with that person who has the power over you. That person has the power play. So if it were me, what I would start doing, especially if I know it affects my mental health, is I would start brushing up my resume. I would start fixing up my CV. I would start going out for jobs. I would start actively looking for another place, because I would not be staying with that boss. I do not stay in any circle, any space, if people are not going to respect me. Bottom line, I'm not doing it. I don't know what your situations and your circumstances have been, and if you have the opportunity to branch out, but I know for a fact my mental health comes first. And if my mind is broken, the rest of me is broken. I will not be able to grow, will not be able to expand, will not be able to be a better version of myself if my mind is broken. Therefore, whatever is disrupting my mind has to go. So I would start actively looking for another job. I'm not going to try to change the boss, because the boss is already unchangeable, unshakable. So I leave in him or her, them toxic self, and I'm leaving the office. But I'll be doing the groundwork underneath before I do.
Bad energy, stay far. All right. So Gabby again, she asks, what advice would you give young entrepreneurs? Who needs to know how to grow an organization based on charity and empowerment of youth?
what advice do I have for young entrepreneurs who are trying to use their platform for charity?
Yeah, to want to grow an organization based on charity and youth empowerment.
Be specific. That's number one. Everybody coming out, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, because what you're doing is amazing. What the problem is that everybody comes out being very vague. Yeah, we're helping youth empowerment. You know, we're a charity helping youth. What does that mean? What does that mean? Young entrepreneurs have to become very specific and very granular about what that means. People talking about GoFundMe, people have been conned out of money. People need to understand the niche that you are assisting. So for example, I don't just say youth empowerment. I do charitable work in vulnerable communities that specifically target girls and women who have been victims of sexual and domestic abuse. I become very, very, very granular. So for any small business person or any small young entrepreneur who wants to be doing help, it can't be vague. You can't help everybody. You can't help every group. So you have to be more specific, so that when people understand the community you are serving, the right people will then start to align with you. So when I say sexual abuse, domestic abuse, I now get support from people who also have experience in that area. But when you say youth empowerment, is that in literacy? Is that special needs? Is that disabled? Is that the deaf community, blind community? Is it young between early childhood? Is it adolescence? I don't know. And so the generalization is going to make you be very diluted very, very quickly. Everybody's going to look at you and say, all right, yeah, cool. So unless you narrow it down and you start to work in that specific niche, nobody's going to take you seriously. Too vague. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to take 2 more questions and we're going to wrap. Because
this is the longest podcast I've ever done in my life.
Me too. and
I thank everybody for being here. I thank everybody who came in at 12 and are still here. Thank you so very much.
Oh my. Yeah, this part, like Karen Rose in the beginning of this podcast, he's saying this podcast is a movie, but this podcast is longer than a movie. This is crazy. All right, so
sorry, guys.
That's all right. So Sabrina, she said, "Hi Terry, you seem to have such a positive, resilient spirit. What do you do to recharge and keep that energy up?" That's a good question.
Very, very good question. Thank you for asking that. Number one, I've learned to say no. Hey, something Caribbean people have a hard time saying. Hey, Caribbean women have an even harder time saying no, because we want to be likable. We want to be personable. We want to please everybody. We want to please our partners. We want to please our children. We want to be the best co-workers and the best friends, the best aunties, the best sisters. And the more people pack up on our plate is the more we say yes, 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 even though we know we're under some serious stress. We don't want to say no and disappoint people. The reason why I've been able to recharge and to maintain a certain perspective and positivity is because I've learned to say, no, I'm so sorry. I'm not available for that right now. Or I'm sorry, I can't take this on my plate right now until I can free up a couple of things. I'm so sorry, but no, I'm not able to let you into my network right now because right now we're doing some things. I have to say no. That's a big part of filtering all the things I take upon myself and all the energy that I have to put into everything. Because as you guys can imagine, I put my all into the spaces that I decide to put my all into. And so I say no. Number two, every single day, no matter how bad my day is, maybe I'm feeling ill, maybe I'm just having an off day, I wake up with a spirit of gratitude. One of my most viral videos that I experienced was talking about missing my flight in Miami's immigration, and I'm heading to that job in Grenada. And while I could have sat down and I could have cussed immigration and I could have cussed the airline and I could have cussed everybody, I started to look at all of the things that I was grateful for. Landing safely, having a little money in my pocket that I could have used my credit card and I could have spent the night in a hotel where enough people who get laid off and have to stay in airports are sleep upon floor and upon bench, and some people are sleeping at the bathroom. You understand? I said, Lord, I'm so grateful that I could have called my brethren and have him make a call for me on my behalf to the hotel. I gave God thanks that while I was waiting for an hour for my shuttle, I could have vexed. But instead, I was able to help 2 women from Bolivia who spoke Spanish, visiting Miami for the first time and couldn't understand nothing. And I was in a position, because I am bilingual, to help those ladies to know where to go and where to stand up for their shuttle. I get up every day understanding that I might be having an off day, but there's so much for me to give God thanks for. And because I have that outlook, and because I have that perspective, and because I still know I have breath and life and a reason every single day that I can share my light with other people, I choose to be positive. It is a choice. And when I've made that choice, it now becomes second nature. It becomes like breathing. And I think those are the 2 things for sure.
Right. So we get into the last question, guys. Questions done. We're done with questions. This is the last question. We have things to do. Right?
Yes.
Jeez. All right. So I'm going to combine 2 questions I got. So one is from Daniel. He asks, how do I break into the emceeing circuit?
How do you, how does he graduate?
Somebody's phone is ringing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my iPhone went off, so it registers on my computer. So I just offed it on my computer.
Right, no problems. Yeah, so Daniel wants to know how to break into the emceeing circuit, and I'm going to combine that question with a question I got privately, where the person asks, how do you utilize your influence on all social media platforms to get paid speaking engagements and support for services offered?
Okay, wow. All right, so let me answer the second one first. When I started getting my speaking engagements, I never asked people to book me. I never had a speaker's kit, which all speakers are supposed to have. All of us who are thinking of going into the speaker, which is why I tell you, people be focusing on logo and colors and everything, and you don't even realize how sometimes those things don't even matter. If you're going into the public speaking sphere, you need to have a speaker's kit. You need to be able to have a short bio, a longer bio that tells people who you are and the particular topics that you speak on and what your rate would be. That's important for everyone, so that when people come to you and they start to ask you if you could come and speak at their event, you're not and you're throwing out random numbers. It's good for you to already start formalizing what that will look like if people start to engage you. So going back to the question, I never said that I was a public speaker. I got up every day in front of this orange wall, right? And spoke in front of my camera about whatever the hell I wanted to speak about, told my stories, came off, went about my business. All of a sudden, people started to say, hey, we would like you to come and speak at our corporate office. All right, cool. What's the topic? All right, I'm comfortable. We'd like you to come and speak in Singapore. Singapore? All right. I ended up going and speaking to Singapore about using and leveraging your social media as a thought leader. All of this happened all because I showed up every day and I communicated effectively and passionately about what I wanted to do. Whereas there are a lot of people who might be great public speakers, but they're not even getting on video. They're not putting their talent on display. And that's one of the biggest problems. You can't say you are a speaker. You can't hand out a speaker's kit when there's absolutely no proof. And the proof does not necessarily mean that you have to be on a stage, The proof is that you can actually speak, be understood, and can take your audience from top of story to bottom of story. So literally, that is how I started out. And as I started to be approached by people now, I say, well, wait, so I need to know, have something in writing. I need to have my prices. I need to know if you want me for half an hour, it's going to cost this. If you want me for X amount of time, it costs this. If you want me for a corporate event versus a gala event where I'm going to have to now come in a gown, which means I'm going to have to spend more money looking the part, which we all need to think about, it's going to cost me this. But
So
those
no more $20 a day. No more 20 US a day. No,
hell no.
Done.
Hell no. And the thing is, what I've done is I've given you a sample. You go supermarket and you don't usually buy new products just so. You don't buy new products, but chances are if a sampling lady is there and she said, try this, and you taste it, you say, boy, this nice, see? You end up pick up the product. That is how it is right now. So it's when people saw a sample of what I could do, because I had these little videos, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, people say, wait, this girl is good. That is how my engagement came. So you can't put the cart before the horse. That's what I would tell people. You have to start showing people what you can do before you start booking the gigs. Then you put a hashtag speaker, so people now know that you're open for speaking opportunities. So you can put the hashtag speaker at the end of your caption or in your video. For the first question was, how do you break into the emceeing game, emceeing industry, right? For me, I started off doing it for free because I didn't know any better. What I would do is, because the persons who were closest to me knew that I was confident, I didn't have a problem standing up in public rooms and just delegating. What would happen is somebody would say, hey, Terry, having a little community concert for the church, we just need somebody to go through the program. And I'm like, all right, no problem. I volunteered. Oh, Terry, we have a charity event and we're taking care of wards of the state, and we just want an MC who will just kind of keep them engaged. And I was like, all right, cool. A lot of us in the positions we are in now, we did a lot of our things for free back in the day. And it is by doing that you get your feet wet. You start to learn more about your ad-lib. You learn what is comfortable. You get to learn different audiences. You get to play with different types of events. And while you are doing this, try to document it. Because now when you post and you say, hey, it was such an awesome opportunity or an honor to have hosted the this, what you're doing is you are psychologically sensitizing your audience that this is what you do. But you have to start off sometimes free in order to get your foot in the door, in order to document, in order to post, in order to attract the right audience. You understand? So some of us don't just break into MC by just going on and saying, yo, I'm available for MC. And I gave that same training to a guy who asked the very same question. And the very event that he did, the first event, he did it for free. He took my advice, did the event for free, had his friend video. And then when he posted and he said, he was the first time emceeing, he was honest, and he said at first he was nervous, and after that, people started giving him little gigs in the community, and it will then be his discretion now to say, all right, now I think I've made a little name for myself. I've proven myself. So now I'm going to start to charge. Maybe I'm not going to charge at the top because I'm not there yet, but no, you have to give me an honorarium. And that is how most of us have pushed through.
All right. So before I pose my final question to Terri-Karelle, I want to invite everybody. If you have enjoyed this session and you want to hear more sessions like it, go ahead and follow Caribbean Power Lunch on Instagram. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or just go to CaribbeanPowerLunch.com. And yes, so Terry, this has been excellent, of course. You've seen the comments. Everybody loves it.
Thank you, guys.
Is there anything you feel like we didn't touch on it? We possibly didn't touch on any past
listen, I think we touched confidence, self-development, career, pivoting, finances. The most I can tell people, for those of you who are following me already, you guys already know what my mantra is. You know what I stand for. And I've always told people that the biggest difficulty is that people really don't know the power that they have. In fact, people don't even know the power that they are. And I will anybody who might be on this live right now, who might be thinking small, playing small, thinking that you have nothing to bring to the table. I just want to remind you that you are so much greater. You can do more and you can be more. And you know what? You don't have to do it at the pace of other people. Your season is your season. Your blueprint is your blueprint. Your lane and your journey is yours. And so even though you've seen other people moving in a lane that seems to be faster than you, understand that life and this race is not a sprint. It is a marathon. And it is for those of us who will endure to the end. So it means start investing in yourself, start strengthening areas that you know are your weaknesses, and start daring yourself a little bit to step out, but just pace yourself. That is probably just a wrap up, because I don't think we missed anything, but I really just wanted to remind everyone that that is really what you need to do. Pace yourself, but know that you mustn't settle. Mediocrity is not a part of your vocabulary. We're going for excellence in everything that we do. And who don't like it, bite it. That is not your problem. We're pushing through, and we will move with those who want to move with us.
Boom.
Boom.
All right, guys, there you have it. Don't play small with Terri-Karelle Reid. Subscribe to Caribbean Power Lunch at caribbeanpowerlunch.com/subscribe. Check us out on Castbox, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. And with that, Terri.
And of course, for those of you who aren't on LinkedIn or who are on LinkedIn, you can go back on my page under this little flyer where we had this discussion, and leave your feedback. Let us know, what you thought about it. And you can, of course, follow me at Terri-Karelle and find me on my website, terri-karelle.com. I look forward to connecting with you guys.
And with those beautiful words, we are out. All right, let's end this recording.
Bye, guys. Thank you so very much for your time and your energy and your effort. Stay safe. Stay safe.